Good morning, Bucknutters. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5, albeit a little bit late today, and we're sorry for that. It is February 20th, 2014, Thursday. This is Dan Rubin, and I am joined by the Dean of Midwest Recruiting, Bill Kurelic. Today we're going to discuss the basketball team's win versus Northwestern last night. We're going to get into running back recruiting, and then if we have a chance, get into some 2017 recruiting. First off, Bill, last night your Fighting Buckeyes took out Northwestern 76-60 to improve to 21-6 overall, 8-6 in the conference. They're now half game behind Wisconsin for fourth. Before we get into the altercation and break that down, which was pretty interesting, it does seem that the Buckeyes have kind of embraced their personality here, and they seem to have hit their stride.
Yeah, I really like the direction they're going now. You know, do I feel like they are a Final Four team at this point? And probably not at any point the rest of the season. No, but still, you know, it's a far cry from what it was during the losing streak and when everybody was ready to jump off the nearest bridge, and some people were ridiculously questioning Thad Matta and what he was doing. You know, they are, to some extent, I think, back on track, and yeah, it's a positive.
As one who has damaged his vocal cords over the year dealing with refs, I want to give credit to the referees from last night's game for how they handled the altercation. For those who didn't see it, Northwestern big man Nicola Serena, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, lost his damn mind and just started messing with Amir Williams and elbowing him and such, and it got to the point where Serena threw a punch, and in the, scrum that ensued, or Quentin Ross pushed him in the back, but the refs kicked Serena and Ross out of the game and did not do anything to Williams, which was good because he was the victim there. And then we'll get Ross back for the next game, and Serena will be suspended for the next game. So I want to give kudos to the refs for handling that perfectly. Bill, running back recruiting. We talked a lot early in the week about Damian Harris, the number one running back in the country out of Kentucky, who visited this past weekend. Then we've also heard of a running back in the recent days, Dexter Williams out of Florida, getting an offer. And then there's talk now of Larry Scott, the top running back in Ohio, getting an offer from Alabama and Auburn. Where do you see the state of running back recruiting now?
Well, I don't think there's any question that the guy that can commit at any point that he wants to commit is Damian Harris from Kentucky. You know, I happened to be at the Ohio State-Michigan basketball game, and in walked Damian Harris with Urban Meyer, and that was quite an entrance, you could say. The student section went wild, and Damian Harris was certainly given the red carpet treatment when he was here in Columbus, and for good reason. I mean, he is just a tremendous running back, and you look at what Carlos Hyde did in this year's Ohio State offense, and you got to think, well, Damian Harris would look awful good, and he's got to think that too. But in addition to Damian Harris, there are a number of other guys that Ohio State is certainly very much in the running to land, has a legitimate shot at. Led by Jox Patrick from Florida. He's got Ohio State as one of his top choices. And, if you can get Damian Harris and Jox Patrick, which I think is maybe a stretch to get both of them, but even if you can get one of them, you've struck gold. But then right under that group, there's a lot of other running backs that Ohio State is certainly going after, and it has a realistic shot at. Dexter Williams certainly is one of them. He's an outstanding back. And Jerome Baker, Ohio State originally, and they certainly want Jerome Baker. Ohio State originally was talking more running back with him than linebacker. He prefers linebacker a little bit, but certainly he's a great running back prospect too. So, you go up and down the board. That's not even counting the slot-type guys like Todd Griffin. So certainly things are very promising when it comes to running back in the Ohio State 2015 class.
So looking in the state here, Larry Scott out of Hubbard, we've heard for years that he's had some issues in the classroom that may keep him from getting an offer or qualifying early on. He also has the number one ever, in my opinion, report from a scout on him that once told me it looks like a grizzly bear got loose at a campsite. Now, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds good. So you don't see Scott ultimately getting an offer from Ohio State despite being the number one back in the Buckeye State?
I think it's, in my opinion, a little bit doubtful right now that he does get an Ohio State offer, simply because, we went down the names of Ohio State top targets and how Ohio State has a legitimate shot at so many great prospects that, to be honest, Larry Scott is a little bit of a risk in that he still has to get everything taken care of. And Ohio State is in a position where they don't really need to take any risks. They have such a great number of outstanding running back prospects that they could land, why take a risk on someone when you don't really need to do that? So certainly, while I like Larry Scott's talent, my feeling is that unless something changes at this point, he's probably not going to get an Ohio State offer.
There you have it. We'll have to table our 2017 discussion for another time. There is a thread going on the front row right now called Bucknuts One-on-One. What guests would you like to hear from? Get on there, give us your suggestions, and we will attempt to contact them. We thank Bill Kurelic for joining us. Have a great day, Bucknutters.